We've all been there. You're holding a nasty angle, you're ready for the fight, and all of a sudden you're instantly deleted by a pixel-perfect headshot. And your first thought, wow, he just out-aimed me. End of story, right? Wrong. It wasn't your aim, it was your failure to think. You didn't need to peek that angle. The objective forces him to move. You had utility that you could have used to create an unfair fight. You were holding an aggressive angle when a safer passive one would have won you the round. The truth is, pro players win these fights not because of their aim, but because they have mastered the one skill that truly matters: the ability to stack advantages in their favor. It's about using your brain to create a fight that's almost impossible for you to lose. And today, in the first ever episode of Siege Fundamentals, I'm going to teach you how to master that skill. Many of you have already mastered the steps of the unbreakable attacking cycle, but mastering the 3 pillars we're covering today is what unlocks that cycle's true potential. We're breaking down the foundation of it all: information, utility, and map control. We're not starting with your aim, we're not starting with movement, we're starting with the single most aggressive and lethal tool in your entire loadout: information. And I know what some of you are thinking: information? That sounds passive, that sounds boring, I came here to shoot people. And I'm sorry to say, but that mindset might be exactly what's keeping you stuck. Because every single gunfight you take is a 50-50 coin flip, unless you have information. Information is what turns a risky gunfight into a guaranteed execution. To understand why, we have to ask one simple question: what does information actually do for us in a round of Siege? Well, the answer is simple. Information takes an unknown risk and turns it into a known certainty. It's the difference between walking into a dark room and stubbing your toe on a dresser, and walking into the same dark room but you're wearing steel-toed boots made of flashlights. We want the flashlight boots, guys. Every time you drone a room, check a camera, or place a trap, you are creating a pocket of safety. You're clearing a variable off the board, which allows you to focus all your attention and your crosshair only on the remaining areas of potential danger. Less risk means less chance of getting caught off guard. It's the foundation of every single high-level play in this game. But most players think that just because they use their drones that they're good at gathering intel. There's a massive difference between simply seeing things and truly understanding what's going on. We're going to fix that right now by breaking down how pros think about information. So if information is that powerful, where do most players go wrong? Well, it all boils down to a fundamental misunderstanding of when to gather intel. And honestly, I don't blame you, because it's not as simple as it looks. This confusion leads to 2 equally deadly mindsets: underinfo and overinfo. The player with underinfo is a gambler. On attack, they don't drone, face check every corner, and lose fights they never saw coming. On defense, they're the roamer who never checks a camera and gets completely caught off guard, or the site anchor with no traps, no cameras, and no idea where the attack is coming from. On the other side of things is the player with overinfo. On attack, they're the guy who spends 90 seconds droning out every single enemy to plan out their entire round, only to run out of time and have information that's older than the crust in their underwear. On defense, this is the anchor who's glued to their cameras, watching a different part of the map while an enemy walks up and shoots them in the face. They have all the information in the world, except the most important piece: what's happening right in front of them. Both of these players are making the same core mistake. They're not using information effectively. The pro player finds the perfect balance, whether they're attacking or defending. And that balance comes from adopting the pro mindset, which is built on 3 rules. Number 1, your drone is your second life. Number 2, information must answer a question. And number 3, intel has an expiration date. Let's break them down, starting with rule 1. Your drone is your second life. Now, this rule is strictly for attacking. Every time you're about to push, you have a simple choice to make: to drone or not to drone. That is the question. If you choose to drone, you get 2 potential outcomes. You see the enemy without them seeing your drone, giving you a huge advantage in the fight. Or you see them, they shoot your drone, but you are still alive. You've traded a piece of plastic for your life in the round, which is the most valuable thing. Unless you're that one Ash main that was on my team last night, in which case the plastic was probably worth more. Now, if you choose not to drone, you gain speed, but you also gain massive risk, again with 2 outcomes. Best case, you get map control quickly and win your gunfights by relying on pure aim. Worst case though, and what happens more and more as you climb the ranks, is you run in and die to an angle you never saw coming. You've lost the gunfight before it even began simply due to a lack of information. Relying on aim alone is how you stagnate or can't win a single gunfight on days when you're not at your peak. That explains why we keep our drones alive, but what should we actually be doing with them? That brings us to rule number 2, information must answer a question. This rule applies to both attack and defense. Pros don't gather information just to look around, they do it with a purpose. They are always asking a question. On defense, you're not just watching cams, you're asking, is someone pushing this side of the map? Are they holding my rotate back? Or even, can I see for them from below? On attack, your drone isn't a tour guide, okay? It's an interrogator. Before you push, you're asking, is this next room clear? What's stopping me from making this play? Where can they kill me from? Using intel to answer a specific question is what turns it from useless noise into a round-winning advantage. So you've asked your question, you've gotten your answer, and you've gained that advantage. But this is where the real high-level thinking begins, because what happens the moment a smart player knows you have information on them? That brings us to our final and most important rule: intel has an expiration date. This is the highest level of thinking. You see, the second a smart player knows they've been droned, the information you have starts to decay. Their first priority will be to find and destroy your drone. Why? Because that cuts off your ability to get live updates. Their second priority is to immediately reposition, turning your last known information into a dangerous, deceitful lie. Your call out of "he's in the corner" now has the shelf life of a banana. By the time your teammate gets there, that banana has turned into a brown mushy lie, and now your boy is receiving back shots because of it. And that's why keeping your information source alive is everything. As long as your drone is hidden and active, you can confirm if the enemy is still there. You can update your team. The moment that drone dies, you're now fighting a ghost and the advantage is gone. This is why hiding your drone, driving it quietly, and placing better cameras is crucial. It's not just about finding the enemy, it's about maintaining accurate live information for as long as possible. The more that you can out-info your opponent this way, the more you will win gunfights and games, I promise. Having this stronger information is the first advantage you can gain, but the second comes from the tools you bring to the fight, your utility. This is the second pillar of thinking. Utility is really just the name for the stuff that your operator has. It's your flashbangs, grenades, hard breach gadgets, barbed wire, traps, pineapples, all the unique abilities that define each character. The problem is 99% of players either don't know how to use their stuff properly, or worse, they don't use it at all. The single biggest misuse of utility is treating it as a separate entity from you as a player. It's throwing a smoke canister and then not planting the diffuser inside of it. It's placing an Elamine and then ignoring the concussion when it goes off. That poor Elamine was born for this one and only moment, and you just left it hanging. That's gadget neglect, dude. If you're not acting on your utility, then there's no point in using it. It's not a fire and forget concept, it's an invitation to take action. It's the concussion from your Elamine that lets you peek while your enemy is disoriented. It's the flashbang that lets you swing for a free kill. You use the utility to create the opportunity, and then you capitalize on it to win the fight. To fix this, you have to adopt the pro mindset. Pros don't just see gadgets, they see a wallet full of currency, and they understand that every round is won or lost based on the economy of Siege. Every piece of utility they use isn't just a tool, it's an investment into winning the round. On defense, you are the tax collector. Your goal is to make the attackers overpay for every single inch of the map. Your traps, your shields, your gadgets, they're all designed to tax the enemy resources, waste their time, and force them into making bad investments. But that tax only works if you're there to collect it. This is where the play off your utility rule comes in. You can have the perfect setup, but if you get overly aggressive, push past your own gadgets, and die early, well, then you've basically just invested all your utility into blockbuster stock in 2003, and now you're broke. Your job is to stay alive long enough to cash in on the chaos your investments create. The best part, if the enemies don't pay any tax and just run into your setup, you're about to become a freaking millionaire. On attack, you're an investor trying to find the best possible return. Your utility is how you buy back the advantage. You open new lines of sight to create pressure, and you burn defender utility to clear a path. This is the economic side of Siege. Are you spending your one grenade to remove 3 pieces of their utility? That's a winning trade that gives you a massive return on your investment. And what are we buying with all of this information and utility? We're buying the ultimate advantage, the final and most important pillar of thinking in Siege, map control. So far, we've been dealing with these abstract advantages. Map control is how you convert those advantages into something real. It's how you turn what you know into what you own, physically taking the spaces you need to win. At its simplest, it's the percentage of the map your team has in its power. On defense, it's what you're forcing the attackers to work for. On attack, it's what you take away from the defense. But you have to remember that all map control has one inevitable goal: to gain or maintain control of the bomb site. A few easy kills don't really matter if you run out of time and lose the round. And that brings us to the single biggest mistake players make. It's not just that map control isn't their goal, but for most people, it's never even crossed their mind that it's an option. For me, map control is the reason for every move I make and every piece of info I gain. 99% of the time, I'm not playing for kills or even thinking about them. I'm playing to gain the space that will add the most pressure and do the most damage to the enemy team. And this is a secret you need to burn into your brain. Kills aren't the goal. They are the result of a truly solid goal, map control. Once you make that mental shift, the next step is to understand the crucial difference between simply being in a space and truly controlling it. And by the way, if this is the kind of deep strategic thinking you want more of, make sure you're subscribed because we're breaking down concepts like this every single week. Now let's talk about what this true control actually is. If you're standing in a room but you're vulnerable to 3 different flanks, you don't have control. You're just a target existing in a space. True control means the area is secured. Your flanks are watched, the angles are held, and you can maintain it safely. And that's the key here. Only take the map control that you can maintain well. Trying to play the whole map is like adopting 10 puppies. It seems like a great idea at first, but now you have to keep track of all of them, and one is definitely taking a piss on the bomb site. For most ranks, this is why direct site take is so much more effective. It's easier to maintain control over 2 rooms compared to half the map. But once you have that control, the job isn't over. This is when you use that position to apply even more pressure, going right back to our other 2 pillars. You gather more information and use your remaining utility to force the defenders into an unwinnable situation. So we've broken down information, utility, and map control as 3 distinct pillars. But the real secret is that they're actually all one thing. They are the 3 core currencies of Siege. They're what you spend to buy control of the round and ultimately win. Think about it. On attack, you spend information to buy map control. That control creates a perfect opportunity to invest your utility for maximum impact. That successful investment then allows you to gather more map control, creating a cycle that generates a massive return, a winning advantage. On defense, it's the same game in reverse. You use your initial information to know where the attackers are buying information. You spend your utility to tax their resources and deny them control. Your entire goal is to disrupt their economic engine while protecting your own. Everything you do in this game, every decision, every moment stems from how you manage these 3 currencies. And this is how you win more gunfights. Any fight that you take after you've invested your resources wisely is an advantage gunfight, one that you will win far more often than not. It's swinging off the sound of your Legion mine while the enemy is slowed and vulnerable. It's peeking a defender from 2 different angles at once because your map control has them trapped. It's stacking all 3 currencies, knowing exactly where they are, using a flashbang to blind them, and fighting from a position you already own to get the easiest kill of your life. The more you accept that, the faster you will become a great Rainbow Six player. Now, go invest in your game further by clicking the video on the left where you'll learn the unbreakable attacking cycle, or click the video on the right to learn 5 R6 tips that I wish someone had told me sooner. Good luck out there, you got this.